Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another week of Nuggets. Thank you, Seth, for guiding us through last week's study. This week, we'll take a closer look at witnesses of Jesus' messiahship. When you think of a witness, perhaps you imagine a courtroom with a judge and lawyers. Well, according to the legal dictionary, a witness is someone who testifies under oath at a trial regarding experiences of which they have personal knowledge. A witness has to recall and recite what they experienced through what they saw, through what they heard or smelt, or any other sensory perception. And they can do that voluntarily, or they could be legally compelled to do so. Our witness for today is John the Baptist. As you may know, he was a few months older than Jesus, and they were cousins. He was the miracle child of Zechariah and Elizabeth. The Holy Spirit had placed John in Elizabeth's womb, and the Holy Spirit filled him from day one. His very existence was willed by God, not man. John's parents were godly and raised him to know that his very existence was because God had a special mission for him. Imagine this being your birth story. It's pretty amazing, right? John, as opposed to Samson, who started his life in a very similar condition to John, took his mission very seriously. He lived a short life, but a mission-driven life that gave him purpose. He prepared the way for the Messiah. He was one of the first to openly declare Jesus' divinity. When asked who he was, John quoted the famous text from Isaiah 40, verse 3, which openly declared what kind of a witness of Jesus he was. I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord. You see, John had been told about his mission from the start of his life, and he had accepted it. John was a reformer, and he chose to go to the desert to study nature, revelation, and providence. He didn't go to a rabbinical school because it would have corrupted his relationship with God. In the natural order of things, John should have been trained for priesthood, like his father. But God called him to the desert, and here he was away from distractions and temptations of the world. John prepared himself first before he could be that voice calling for reformation. Imagine knowing that you would be the person who would prepare the way for the coming Messiah, who Israel had waited for thousands of years. What a huge responsibility. Ellen White says in The Desire of Ages that during his time in the desert, John looked upon the King in his beauty, and self was forgotten. He beheld the majesty of holiness and felt himself to be inefficient and unworthy. He was ready to go forth as heaven's messenger, unawed by the human, because he had looked upon the divine. He could stand erect and fearless in the presence of earthly monarchs, because he had bowed low before the King of Kings. Well, tomorrow we'll continue learning more about John the Baptist as a witness to the Messiah. So stay tuned. I'll see you tomorrow.